The Mask of Perseus. He was a child of wonder and adventure, who loved to play and pretend. He was fascinated by the stories of ancient heroes and monsters, of gods and goddesses, of battles and quests. He had a vivid imagination and a creative spirit, and he could transform any object into a prop for his games. One day, he found a mask in his uncle's attic, among other curiosities and treasures. It was a light brown mask with snakes and long vermilion hair, held by a thin cord. It looked like the head of a fearsome creature, with a furious expression and a petrifying gaze. He recognized it as the head of Medusa, the Gorgon who could turn anyone who looked at her into stone. He was thrilled and curious, and he decided to try it on. He put the mask on his head, and tied the cord around his chin. He felt a strange sensation, as if he had become someone else. He looked at himself in the mirror, and saw a different face, a different person. He saw Perseus, the Greek hero who had slain Medusa with his sword and his shield. He felt a surge of courage and excitement, and he decided to act out the story of Perseus. He grabbed a wooden sword from his toy box, and held it in his left hand. He pretended that he was flying on the winged horse Pegasus, and that he had just cut off Medusa's head with his sword. He imagined that he was on his way to save the Princess Andromeda, who was chained to a rock and about to be devoured by a sea monster. He ran out of the attic, and into the living room, where his mother and his aunt were having tea. He shouted, "Behold, the head of Medusa! I am Perseus, the son of Zeus, the slayer of the Gorgon, the savior of Andromeda." He waved his sword and his mask, and looked at them with a proud and triumphant smile. His mother and his aunt were startled and amused by his appearance and his words. They saw him wearing a loose emerald green garment on his shoulders, which was actually a curtain that he had taken from the attic. They saw him wearing a mask and holding a sword, which were actually a souvenir and a toy that his uncle had brought from his travels. They saw him in all his glory, with his imagination and his enthusiasm. They saw him as a child, who had become a hero. They smiled and clapped, and praised him for his performance and his creativity. They asked him to tell them more about his adventure and his story. They played along with his game, and pretended to be amazed and terrified by his mask. They made him feel happy and proud, and loved him for who he was. He was a child of wonder and adventure, who loved to play and pretend. He was a child of beauty and intelligence, of charm and ambition, of passion and courage. He was a child of wonder and adventure, who had become a hero.